Hey guys, welcome to another episode of On His Majesty's Brick Service. Now today I thought that I'd take the two sets that I've built over the last 2 weeks, that's the UCS Superstar Destroyer and the Midi scale Superstar Destroyer, and I'd compare the two. So without further ado, let's jump down to the kitchen table and let's compare them.
Alright guys, welcome to the dining room table. It's the only place at the moment that I can actually fit the Superstar Destroyer in so that we can get the whole thing in shot. Now, as I said in the intro, today is about having a comparison between the UCS Superstar Destroyer and the Midi scale Superstar Destroyer. And I want to tackle this in a couple of different ways. So first of all, let's talk about the size. So clearly the Superstar Destroyer UCS version is massive. It's almost as long as my dining room table. I think it was around 4 foot odd measuring in, and it really is a huge model. Now for some people this is brilliant. This is what they want. They want to see the size, really get an idea of the scale of this. But for probably, I would have thought the majority of people, including myself, this is just too big to be practical in terms of storage. And ultimately, I'm not sure where I'm going to display this. My biggest fear currently is that I'm going to have to break it up because at the moment I have got nowhere. I have got some shelves upstairs in one of the bedrooms, and I think I might be able to get it on there, but I'm not going to be able to get anything else on that shelf, which is a bit of a shame, and it does mean that I'm going to take up a lot of storage space with this one model. Now, if we take the Midi scale in comparison, this is much smaller. This will fit on a shelf with lots of other models, and it really won't take up very much space at all. It's much smaller, probably measuring in around 2 foot, about half the length, and about half the width as well. So it's definitely much better for displaying and for storing. Now, obviously, one of the other elements we need to look at when comparing the two is cost. Now, this set, when it came out, I'm not sure of the price, but certainly on the second-hand market, the UCS set is going for between £600 and £1,200 from my research. I obviously, in the last video, pieced this out and worked it out to be roughly about £300 odd I paid for this, making it about half what the second-hand market price would be. So from that point of view, it is a very big investment, £300 odd pounds, and that's piecing it out. If you went second-hand, obviously you're talking probably double, could even be quadruple that price. So it is an expensive model. On the other side of it, the Midi scale Superstar Destroyer, this is a much more reasonable price, and again, it's one of the reasons I think Lego probably brought this out in this scale, and it's probably one of the reasons why it's going to sell relatively well. And I think that's because it comes in definitely under £100. I think I want to say it's £60–70. I could be wrong. I should have researched it, but it is definitely between the sort of £50 to £100 range, making it affordable for the majority of Lego fans out there. Now, we should also talk about the detail, because one thing the UCS set does really well, probably much better than the Midi scale, is the level of detail. The work on the top here, right through the main section of it, very detailed, and even along the sides where the main sort of top piece sits, it's very detailed along the side. When you look at the engines, that's incredibly detailed as well. So if you want a Lego model that is very detailed and has a lot to look at essentially, then actually this UCS set is really good. And I know a lot of people who buy UCS sets really want that level of detail. So definitely a winner for the UCS on that one, because the Midi scale one It's lovely, it looks good, it even has some level of detail, but it definitely doesn't go into the side of the detail that the UCS set does. I have to say, I will say that the engines are quite clever how they're done, and I really do like the way the engines have come out on the Midi scale, but it is definitely not the same as the UCS set, even down to the the Star Destroyer. The UCS set Star Destroyer is, I think, much nicer than the Midi scale. Obviously, the Midi scale has two, and they are supposed to be a lot smaller. I'm not 100% sure that the Midi scale Star Destroyer is the right scale if you take the UCS set and the size difference, or the size difference between the Star Destroyer and the Super Star Destroyer. It looks to me like that's a lot. The UCS set is a lot bigger than the Midi scale. It just doesn't look right. Anyway, that's the detail. But I think display-wise as well, that's the other thing we have to consider, because the UCS set clearly is meant to be built and displayed. You're not going to play with this, and I don't think you're going to play with the Midi scale either. I think they're both display pieces. And without talking about the size, I think display-wise, the UCS set is so impressive. If people came around to the house and looked at this, they would be extremely impressed, I think. The Midi scale one is really good, and certainly if you were to display this along with some other ones, such as the Millennium Falcon that's due out this year, or the Tantive 4, all of those would look really good together on a shelf, and you probably could fit all three of those on a shelf together. But it doesn't look as impressive display-wise, I think, as the UCS set. We have to talk about the fact the UCS set comes with a plaque with the name and some details about the ship, whereas the Midi scale one doesn't. It has a single plate or tile, sorry, that comes with the name of it. There's a Star Wars Anniversary printed piece, but that's it. There isn't the excitement or the detail in the display piece that comes with the UCS set. So again, I think the UCS set is ahead there. And finally, let's talk about the figures, because obviously the UCS set, it has this removable piece here. I've got some of the figures in here. I haven't got all the figures, and I explained that in the last video, but it does come with, originally it came with 5 minifigures, and although I haven't got the other 3 yet, I may well at some point in the near future look to get those. Now, the Midi scale doesn't come with any figures, and I kind of find that a little bit disappointing. It would have been nice to get at least one minifigure with that set. Perhaps it would have been Admiral Peters, I probably pronounced that wrong, or one of the bounty hunters, maybe a new Bosk, or even the old Bosk, or Dengar. Any of those would have been really good to have with the Midi scale set, but it just simply hasn't got that, which is really disappointing, I think. So I think, you know, to do a quick overview, I know I've probably rabbited on too long, but ultimately I think the UCS set is special. There's no doubt about it, and I am really pleased I've got it. But there are some elements where it isn't quite on point as the Midi scale, and that really comes down to the amount of space and the cost. However, if you're looking at detail, you're looking at minifigures and what it looks like to display, the UCS set is by far the best set. So what do you guys think? I'd be really interested here in the comments, which one do you prefer? Would you prefer to have a UCS set, or would you prefer the Midi scale set? Love to hear your comments, and as always, if you've liked this video, do please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, click on that subscribe button. It costs you absolutely nothing, but means the world to me as we grow the channel. So that's it for this week, guys. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.